On a quiet Sunday morning, the heir to a multi-billion-dollar fortune slipped into his garage, and within 15 minutes he was dead. But what killed him wasn't the car engine, the stairs, or a random accident. It was a wedding ring, a simple band worth less than $500. And in the shadows of that ring lay a plot worth more than $250 million. Stay with me, because what investigators discovered next would shock even the most seasoned detectives. This story isn't just about murder. It's about greed, betrayal, and secrets buried beneath white-collar glamour. By the end, you'll understand how one piece of jewelry triggered a lethal chain reaction, and why his trusted inner circle is now facing prison. Let's rewind. This is the murder mystery of Richard Morrison times and the deadly legacy of the Tri-Harbor dynasty.
The morning Richard Morrison died began like any other in Pacific Heights, a neighborhood where the houses are so expensive that people keep them guarded like private museums. An early fog rolled in from the bay, softening the skyline and casting a pearly haze across the neighborhood's manicured streets. Inside one of its most luxurious homes, however, that calm was about to collapse. At 8:14 a.m., a neighbor walking her dog noticed something strange. Richard's garage door, normally closed, was half open, stuck midway as if jammed by a mechanical glitch. A faint humming sound echoed from inside. It was the idling engine of a car. The neighbor hesitated. "That's odd," she whispered. She took a few cautious steps toward the driveway. Inside the garage, lying on the concrete floor near the driver's side door of his black Audi, was the unmoving body of 34-year-old Richard Morrison, tech entrepreneur, business heir, and the son of one of the wealthiest families on the West Coast. His skin was pale, lips bluish, one hand curled unnaturally beside his head. His other hand rested near the car door, as if he had attempted to get out and collapsed mid-movement. When first responders arrived 4 minutes later, they found no signs of struggle, no wounds, no forced entry, no blood. The garage smelled faintly metallic, sharp, but not gasoline. Carbon monoxide, they considered it. But the levels didn't match. The car was barely warm. Richard couldn't have been in there long. Then came the first chilling clue. As a paramedic attempted to remove Richard's watch to check for pulses in his wrist, she paused. "What's this?" she murmured. His fingers were discolored at the base. Around his ring finger sat a gold engagement band with a tiny diamond inset, unremarkable at first glance, until she noticed a shimmering crystalline residue around the underside of the diamond. She rubbed it lightly. A chemical smell shot up, bitter almond. Cyanide. The paramedic backed away, shaking her head. "Get CSI here now," she demanded. Because Richard Morrison didn't die of an accident. He didn't die of heart failure. He died of cyanide poisoning, absorbed through microscopic capsules hidden beneath a diamond that had been engineered to kill him slowly when heated by his own body temperature. The ring, his engagement ring, was the murder weapon, and it was worth less than $500. But the motive behind it was tied to more than $250 million as the team zipped his body into the black bag. One question lingered in the cold garage air. Who would kill Richard Morrison, and why hide the poison in a ring? We rewind to the days before everything fell apart. To understand why Richard was murdered, you must understand the dynasty he was born into. The Morrison family wasn't famous in the flashy celebrity sense. They were quiet money, the type who signed deals behind soundproof boardroom doors. The Morrison fortune began in the late 1970s when Richard's grandfather launched Tri-Harbor Holdings, a private investment firm that started with commercial real estate and expanded into hospitality, tech, medical ventures, and global property loans. Their portfolio was valued at over $4.8 billion. Richard was the grandson everyone expected to take over the empire, handsome, educated, charismatic. Newspapers called him Silicon Valley's next gentleman architect. But Richard never fully embraced the corporate role. He was too creative, too restless. Instead, he focused on launching his own tech startup, an AI-driven logistics company, and stayed only loosely involved in Tri-Harbor's board decisions. This tension between the dynasty and Richard's independence would soon become critical. His parents saw him as the future of the family business. His sister, Victoria, V. Morrison, saw him as the obstacle standing between her and the inheritance she believed she deserved. Growing up, Richard and V were close, but as they entered adulthood, the gulf widened. Richard became the golden successor, V, the rebellious child whose spending habits spiraled. Family dinners turned into power struggles. Every decision regarding the estate seemed to create new fractures. When their father grew ill and power transitioned to the next generation, whispers circulated, Richard would get majority control. V would not, but the will could still change. That tension was explosive, and someone was about to exploit it. Richard met Elena Pierce 2 years before his death. She was elegant, poised, with a background in interior architecture. Their romance seemed perfect online. Lavish vacations, rooftop dinners, art galleries, sleek black and white couples portraits. When Richard proposed on a trip to Santorini, friends described it as storybook perfection. But behind that flawless aesthetic, cracks were forming. Elena came from a family with financial troubles, bankruptcies, lawsuits, unpaid debts. She presented herself as refined, but her past carried shadows. And then there was the ring. Richard insisted on designing the engagement ring himself. He claimed it would be symbolic. He wanted something personal, uniquely theirs. Some friends found it odd that someone so wealthy chose a ring so simple. Elena didn't complain, not then. But the ring would become the centerpiece of a deadly plot. 3 weeks before the wedding, Elena rented a private jeweler's workshop for crafting personal pieces. She told the owner she wanted to modify the ring's polish before the ceremony. It was a small detail, but everything about Elena at that time would later point to something much darker. 2 weeks before his death, Richard suddenly changed his will, without announcing it to family, without warning. He removed his sister V as a beneficiary. Instead, he made Elena the sole inheritor of his liquid assets, including an estimated $250 million in stock that he planned to liquidate within the month. His attorney, Jonathan Hale, expressed concern. "This will complicates things," he warned. "Family matters," Richard replied. But the next day, V confronted him. Witnesses reported seeing them at a downtown cafe, voices raised, Richard slamming his coffee cup down hard enough to spill it across the table. "You're throwing everything away," V shouted. Richard lowered his voice. "It's my life. I'm done letting the estate dictate who I love." Those words sealed his fate. Because that night, someone accessed the Morrison estate ledger. Someone saw the will changes. Someone saw Elena's new legal position. Someone saw the liquidation order. And someone decided Richard could no longer live. Victoria Morrison was brilliant, calculating, emotionally volatile. She had always believed she would inherit an equal share of the dynasty until the family decided otherwise. Financial strain made things worse. She had quietly accumulated over $6 million in debt through gambling, poor investments, and lifestyle inflation. Richard's will change destroyed her stability. She confronted him multiple times in the days before his murder. She sent him dozens of text messages, some pleading, some furious. The night before he died, she sent one final message. "You're making a mistake you can't undo." She insisted it wasn't a threat, but investigators felt differently. While V seemed like the obvious suspect, Elena's secrets started to surface. Her family's bankruptcies, her father's criminal charges for financial fraud, her subtle manipulation of Richard. His friends noticed he became more withdrawn after meeting her. And then the jeweler rental. Detectives discovered high-precision micro-drilling tools were accessed during her session. She claimed she only polished the ring, but drill marks would later tell a different story. However, this was all misdirection, because Elena didn't engineer the murder. Someone else was pulling the strings behind her. 8 a.m. Richard prepares to drive to a meeting. 8:10 a.m. Elena is still asleep upstairs. 8:12 a.m. Security camera spots Richard adjusting his ring. 8:13 a.m. Richard opens the garage. 8:14 a.m. A microcapsule beneath the ring's diamond fractures due to heat and friction. 8:16 a.m. Richard feels dizzy. He sits in the car. 8:18 a.m. He tries to open the car door but collapses. 8:20 a.m. The neighbor sees the garage door half open. 8:24 a.m. First responders arrive. 8:30 a.m. Richard is pronounced dead. Cyanide gas, concentrated inhaled, kills fast. Someone had turned his engagement ring into a silent, timed weapon. Forensics quickly ruled out carbon monoxide. Toxicology confirmed cyanide. When they examined the ring, they found microscopic drill marks, cyanide crystals fused into a sealed cavity, chemical residue on Richard's skin, engineered triggers matching jeweler equipment. Someone had designed the ring to release poison through body heat. This wasn't spontaneous. This was murder, scientifically engineered. As suspicion swirled around the sister and fiancé, a new figure emerged. Richard's attorney, Jonathan Hale. Surveillance footage caught him visiting the same jeweler Elena had rented at midnight. Financial investigations revealed a shell company registered in Elena's name, controlled 49% by Hale, used to siphon estate assets, timed suspiciously before Richard's will change. This was the real mastermind. He needed Richard dead before the will change, finalized in the courts. V was manipulated. Elena was used as cover. Hale orchestrated the plan. Elena broke first. She admitted Hale paid her to keep quiet, mislead investigators, and modify the ring. V denied involvement until her burner phone was traced to coordinated messages with Hale. When Hale was interrogated, he cracked. Richard was going to ruin everything, he snapped. He confessed partially, then retracted. But the evidence was overwhelming. The courtroom was packed. Experts demonstrated the ring mechanism. Forensic chemists explained the cyanide release. Financial analysts showed Hale's fraud trail. Elena testified tearfully. V's messages were displayed. The jury deliberated for 11 hours. Jonathan Hale, guilty, first-degree murder, guilty, fraud, guilty, criminal conspiracy. Sentence, life without parole. Elena Pierce, guilty, accessory to murder. Sentence, 10 years. Victoria V. Morrison, civil penalties, lawsuits, asset freeze, still battles today. Richard's funeral drew hundreds, but the grief felt hollow. The estate collapsed. Tri-Harbor liquidated. The family withdrew from public life. His startup dissolved. His home was sold quietly. His sister vanished from tabloids. Elena served her sentence in isolation. And the ring? It rests in an evidence vault, sealed in a plastic case labeled Exhibit A, Morrison Case. A symbol of love, a weapon of betrayal, a reminder that sometimes the deadliest things in life are the ones we put on willingly. In the end, the funeral was held in a black glass chapel overlooking the San Francisco Bay. Thousands of dollars in floral arrangements, the family mansion darkened, a show of sorrow. But for Richard's loyal friends, it felt hollow. They saw the ring displayed in a trophy case like a prize, not a crime scene. His parents closed the tech startup, liquidated the remainder of Tri-Harbor. The fiancé's name vanished from the company board. The sister sued for defamation. Meanwhile, the attorney, once lauded, will spend life in prison. And the ring? It sits sealed in the evidence room, cataloged as Exhibit A, a symbol of love turned lethal. So next time someone says it's just a piece of jewelry, remember Richard Morrison's story. Because in his case, it was the last thing he ever wore. If you found this story chilling and want me to break down more unexplained million-dollar murder plots, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, What accessory would you never wear again after hearing this? Thanks for watching Whisperverse Eero 1. I'll see you in the next one.